Alright everyone, earlier you saw the motor in this condition kind of out on the ground, me putting gaskets and oil seals and transmission seals and all that hanging up on a engine hoist, and now it's back in the truck finally. We got it all back in here. Got the head here kind of setting in there. We got our bolts in there. We don't have them torqued down. We have new gasket and all that. And we got our manifold on that side over here. Now this dipstick, which don't forget, you gotta put your dipstick in first, put the head on, then bolt the manifold on. If you're doing manifold bolt studs and all that, it'll be a lot easier to do because there's a lot of room on this side compared to that side. Thankfully the dipstick's not over there, but on this side I did get the dipstick in. You can kind of see it. Well, maybe you can't. It's down in there. It goes right down in the block. Comes up between that manifold and the head, and I even got one of the bolts there kind of holding it on there, so don't forget that. Other than that, it's kind of a little bit of a hassle, but the head is on. I just got up in the engine bay and dropped it down in there with my hands. I even got the manifold studs there lined up, so we're good there. All I have to do now is clean the other head up a little bit more and stick it on this side. And you can see I got it fairly clean. It's not perfect, but you know, it's fairly clean. We'll get the gasket on there and all that. Now, if you want to go back and look at my previous videos, you can see why I have gotten to this part of the video, why the engine is kind of all tore apart, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So these gaskets here on this VIN 8, you got to be very careful with these head gaskets. Here is the part number for driver's side, which is the left, 5.4 or 4.6, VIN code 8. This says VIN 8, but on the back, I believe, well, when you go to buy it, they'll have their little codes for the numbers and all that. And there's the one for the left side, actually the right side, which you go on this side. It's early, folks, so we'll clean that up on it. But it's kind of weird how these VIN codes are kind of interchangeable between some vehicles. Now these won't work on like the older 4.6s. I think they started in 2006, and that's when they changed a little bit. So other than that, there's a kind of a weird looking gasket there. So we'll put that one over here on in a little bit. Clean up the head. I've got to get this bolt here cleaned up a little bit. That goes to this ground, which goes on the back part of this head, and also this piece here that bolts, that kind of sits in here like this. This bracket here kind of bolts on back of the head right here. It kind of sits up like this. There's a hole right there in that bracket, and I got to bolt that on there. And this actually goes in here. Make sure your seals are good and all that. And I did a video earlier on that plug, plastic plug right here in the back of the block. Some people see antifreeze leaking out underneath the vehicle and they're like, where is it coming from? Well, most of the time it's up here. These things rust out, especially in the Northeast, and antifreeze will run down and trickle out around the transmission and the block underneath. So then we go start tighten all the bolts down on the head, get our timing chain on and stuff. Put front cover on, and hopefully have this done today. Now I do have the air conditioning compressor on right there. It's only held on by 3 bolts, and it's pretty easy to get to. The one up on the top up here is probably right about where my finger is on the bottom of this little bracket. You can get a little tiny socket in there and get that. The 2 on the bottom are fairly easy to get to. When you take this off, you leave the one in the top end, and you let it come out with the air conditioning unit itself, and the 2 on the bottom you can take out. And I just had this off to the side. I didn't even have to disconnect the gas or anything in it, which was great. So I'm happy with that. So it's moving right along. Let's look at this head in here, and I'll show you a couple quick things. And on the back of this head, right there, is where that bolt goes. It's kind of a 2-stage bolt. Goes in with a stud, and there's a little nut that has a ground on it, so just kind of be aware of that. Let's see. this one turned out pretty good. Got all the new stud bolts in. This one here is just a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can tell. These here I got online, all 16 of them. So 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, 16 of them. And this one here, when I drilled out, I had to actually go size up a little bit more because you know, that head was in there pretty far, and that bit did all it could to get it out, and I had to re-tap the threads. So other than that, everything else here is in pretty good shape. That's pretty clean. I might have to clean it up just a little bit more before we stick it on there. And the good thing is I didn't have to take off the cam phaser gears. So I am good there. And this is all new too, by the way. All this stuff's brand new. All because of an exhaust leak. So go back and look at some other previous videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. And here is the old head gasket. You can see how it's kind of made there. So nothing wrong with the head gasket. It ran great. Engine ran great. Just had that exhaust leak on both sides and I couldn't deal with it no more. Got to fix it before winter gets here so I can enjoy the nice ride in the winter time. So all I gotta do is clean up my plugs for now, and we'll do new plugs later. I'll put some anti-seize on these so it'll get them locked up in here. And these are the really long ones. These are the cheaper versions, if you will. So other than that, we'll clean this up a little bit more and get this in the vehicle. All right, let's get this on here. I got both of these gaskets on eBay from a dealer for 30 bucks for both of them. The parts store wanted $58 just for one. I said, no. So I waited a few days. We got new gaskets. We got that one on. This one's on. And we'll drop the head on. I'm not going to show you how I drop the head on. It's all going to be with the manifold and the head together. It's not too terribly heavy. I can just set it on there and start my bolts. There's really no content here. Maybe 10 or 15 people will see this video. Who knows? But there's what it looks like inside this block. It all tore apart. 2010 F-150 Vin 8. So she's about ready to get put back together and first start here in a little bit. So I'm going to get this head on. All right, there it is. It's in. A little heavy to get in there, but I got it on there, and for the most part, the manifold, you know, no problem. All I gotta do is put my bolts in there. Everything's tight. All I gotta do is actually just torque down the head bolts. I want to do that here in a little bit, and I'll do that in a little bit once I get a little bit of shade in here. But you can see it's almost pretty much all together. We just got some small things to do here. Get the timing chain on, and hopefully we'll have this running later today. But at least you have some kind of an idea what you're going to be getting into. And this kind of bolts on here just like that. And other than that, so I put my little sensor on the head there, and check all my wires, hook up my knock sensors, and keep rolling right along. All right, moving right along. We got all the manifolds hooked up. All the bolts have been checked. We got our studs in the exhaust system down there. Got our heads torqued, and now we're getting ready to put on the timing guides and all that. We've got the heads tightened down on both sides. Like I said, torqued. It took a while to do it, but we got it. Manifolds all hooked up there. All the stud bolts are in good shape. And now we'll finish up here on the timing. Pretty simple. Lots of videos on YouTube. Heck, I even have a video if you want to check it out sometime in my playlist on this F-150 truck. Alright, let's go ahead and finish up the timing. Alright, so after about an hour, we got our timing components in. Everything's looking really good. And we got the left side for the driver's side with the arrow. I actually use a little bit of fingernail polish. Paint, it helps to see the marks in low light. Same thing over here. And of course, I've checked the bottom on the crank 2 or 3 times. I can see up under there. If you get down in here, you can actually see up in there. And I don't think, let's see if this camera will zoom up in there just for the heck of it for you guys. Well, did pretty good. You can see both my marks there. I even put a little white paint on the crankshaft there. You can kind of see it. But my marks are all good down there, so looks like we're about ready. Go ahead and put the cover on it. Not too much more to do, but just for good measure, I'm going to check all my bolts one more time before I close it up. And now we get the satisfaction of doing this. Pulling these guys. Ta-da! and we are in Lake Flynn. All right. Hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. All right, that went fairly well. We got the cover on. Everything seems to work out pretty good here. All the bolts are back in just like they should. Now we're going to put the crank on, get the valve covers on, put the intake and all that. All right, so we almost got her together here. I'm going to leave this valve pan cover off over here. Got this one on so we can put oil in it. And what we're going to do, we're going to crank it over a little bit and make sure we got oil pressure, and make sure we see oil coming up here, circulating through the engine and all that. So everything here is going pretty good. Just a few more things to do, but we'll go ahead and make sure we got oil pressure and all that. All right, so we got oil going through the system. I went ahead and put the valve cover on. We're good there, and looks like we'll put some antifreeze in it, hook up a few more things here, and do our first start and see how she's going to sound. All right, everyone, as you can tell by the smoke kind of burning off the manifold, it started right up. Let me go in and hit the key. It had a little bit of a mist. It took a couple of minutes for the mist to get out of it, but it sounds really good. And you can see the temperature gauge still on the, it's come up a little bit. I may have to put a little more water in it for antifreeze, but sounds pretty good. Exhaust leaks are fixed. I just got to put a muffler on eventually. And that's working. Sounds really good. Now my oil pressure gauge, I can't figure this thing out. I got it hooked up the way they say, but it says 150. There's no way. The green wire goes to the sender unit. The red one here goes to the hot. And that's ground. So I'm trying to figure this thing out, but the main important thing is my oil pressure light is off, and I know I've got good oil pressure, so I'm going to have to fool around with that sender gauge. Turn the key back on. The oil pressure gauge, let's see, where is the oil pressure light? I'll find it. I forgot on this one, it's actually got a gauge up here. It's a dummy gauge, but you can see it comes up. So the signal is connecting out there. So I've got oil pressure that you can hear. Give it some throttle. Sounds pretty good. Hey. So all that hard work paid off. Looks like we'll have us a nice running vehicle. So what I'm going to do is put it together and everything. We'll drive it a few days and come back, let you guys know how it is and all that. All right, everyone, it's been probably 4 or 5 days, and I've been driving around a little bit, and I got to tell you, she's all done. She runs good. This is a piece of plastic that actually goes down, and this deflects all the air back into the radiator. I've got this tied up right now because I'm just verifying there's no leaks. I just kind of pulled this up here for a little while, and you can see everything here is back together. We'll start it up. We'll do a cold start. No leaks. Got good oil. Other than that, all the wires, you know, nothing broke. Kind of took my time at it. And also, I've got my oil sending unit hooked up and all that. And I actually cleaned this tank out. It was all yellow. It had some kind of gooey stuff in it. So I stuck a rag down in it when it was off. Took a wire and bent it and kind of sloshed it around in there and got all this cleaned out. So it looks actually pretty good now. So I can fill that one up. Other than that, I don't have any real complaints. No leaks or anything. Let's do a cold start real quick here. Just want to kind of wrap this video up on this. Took a day or so to get everything back together the way I wanted. All right, we'll put the key in. Man, she sounds good. I got to put the tailpipe back on it. When I got it, the tailpipe was in the bed. And you can see it's cold. Good oil pressure. Well, we got the oil pressure switch, a dummy gauge, but see, we got oil pressure, and we got good oil pressure down there. I got a video on this if you guys want to see that. I'll put a description right about there. Right about there. You can watch that. And let you listen to the engine Sounds, she purrs like a kitten. No miss. No knocking. The camera probably won't do it justice. Although this coil right here had a crack in it. I put some silicone on it so water wouldn't get in there. But other than that, I might buy a new one. The only thing I'm going to do next is put some new spark plug wires on it. Well, spark plug coils, and get a new set of plugs and put in. But man, look how smooth it is. You can see by this thing here, this thing bounces a lot if you just touch it, but look at that, how smooth that thing is. I'm so glad we got this together. All that because of those stud manifolds. Lots of videos on my YouTube channel on that debacle. It's quiet, no exhaust leaks or anything. 178,000 miles, I believe. So anyway, electric fan works when I turn the air conditioner on. Man, she sounds good. All right, so that's going to be about it, guys. Really nothing else here to talk about or to show you. I may do some other things to it later and add some more videos. I think I'm going to keep this vehicle. It's kind of grown on me. It's really nice on the inside. I mean, I've cleaned it up and everything. Everything seems to work. No digital screen or anything. Just your standard, radio. I kind of like it like this. I do have a CD player, aux jacks, and all that. So, you see, she's starting to warm up a little bit. And I'm not sure what this other gauge here is. I think it's for the transmission temperature. I'm going to have to check that out. It's got a little gear there, but see, everything working good. We'll drop it down in gear. Oil pressure staying right up there. When it's hot, really warm, when I drop it down in gear, I have about 35 psi oil pressure. So, alright, so guys, there you go. I'm happy with it. Alright guys, so there you go. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, or hey, give me a thumbs down. So whatever you want to do, and let me know where you're watching from right now. And until my next video, guys, I will see you later.